Now at the 107th PGA Championship. Jon, welcome to Quail Hollow and what is your 9th PGA Championship. How are you feeling about your game coming into this week?
God, I can't believe I'm almost at a decade in majors. Goes by fast, that's all I can say. Feeling good, feeling very good. Been playing good all year. Maybe not as great as I would like. I feel like, there's some avoidable mistakes out there, but, if you keep racking up top 10s, not having your best, I think still pretty good. And I can see my game going towards those improvements. So very hopeful, very happy to be here. This property is absolutely amazing. This golf course is amazing. Even though we've had some rain, the green somehow stayed firm. I'm sure they'll get them lightning fast for the week. So exciting for it. It's a great test of golf and a really fun one as well.
That's great. We'll open up for questions, starting up here with Jay.
You mentioned it's been a decade of majors almost. What do you know now that you didn't know when you started out?
Hard to just give you one thing, right? I feel like the main thing is, I think you hear people say this somewhat often, but until you actually see it or experience it, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But you always feel like to win the major, you have to play perfect, which is not true, right? I remember the RNA did this 20-minute little documentaries with Open champions, and Padraig Harrington said, I think it was at Muirfield in 02 when he played about as good as he could play and didn't win, and he got to the point where he thought he had to get lucky to win a major championship. I think that's a little bit of part of it, but at the end of the day, it's just a lot of it is, keep playing good golf, keep playing stolen golf, and take advantage of the good stretches you're going to have throughout the week. But by any means, you don't have to play perfect. It's funny, a few times I've gone back and seen reruns of some of my rounds, like both Sundays, and especially the one at the US Open. I thought I played so good, and I didn't realize how many fairways I missed and how many shots that I considered that weren't good, but did all the things right to minimize the damage, right? So it's funny, I think 9-10 years ago I was thinking I had to play my absolute best in every aspect of the game, and I think if anything, just have to have full faith in all aspects of your game and just learn how to manage the golf course that week.
We'll go to Alex on 2, followed by Mike's 20, and then 1.
Jon, so obviously you've had a good year, as you said, a lot of top 10s, but you haven't won. So is that more towards something in regards to your swing, or is that more a mental issue?
God, both of them can be so combined in so many different scenarios, right? I think it's a bit of both. I think sometimes it's been bad swings, and I think sometimes could be bad process or maybe just bad decisions, right? So I can't say overall it's been one or the other. It's just mistakes that either way can be avoided, because at the end of the day, any bad swing essentially comes from possibly a bad mindset at the moment, right? So it's a hard question to answer definitively.
So just to get into coming here then, what is it, if you were working on anything, what would it be that you're working on to try to be successful this week?
I think a lot of it is so circumstantial, right? Based on the course, the shot, conditions. If I had to say what I'm working on more, I think I'm slightly trying to get some bad habits out of the swing. But again, I'm seeing the progress on it and how much better it's feeling every day. So if I have to put more thought in one right now, it would be more on the swing. Not that as much though. I mean, Dave always likes to say that he has to find about 40 different ways to tell me the same 3 things about my swing, because it's usually fairly consistent. So it's just sometimes a different way of hearing and feeling something to accomplish the same thing.
So. Okay. Jon, back here. Looking at the 4 major parts of the game, the drive, approach, around the green, putting, if you were forced to switch out one of those with any current player, which part of the game would it be and who would be the player that you chose to switch it out for?
That would absolutely depend on the golf course and conditions we're having.
How about this week?
Oh, my God. Based on the success he's had here, you almost have to go with some part of Rory's game, right? He's done incredible here, and it's because he's good at everything, obviously. I mean, I think the obvious answer for a lot of people probably would say he's driving on this golf course, but I think as a pretty good driver myself, I'm going to choose how well he's been able to putt on those greens. I would also say if I have to go with somebody else that maybe is statistically a better putter, it's hard to go with somebody other than Xander, especially in recent years. I mean, I can rifle off about 10 different players, Scotty's iron game, or quite a few guys about their wedge game. But if I have to go pick one, just because he's done so well here, I'm going to say that how well Rory has done here, maybe on the greens and around the greens.
If I can follow up and say, what if that scenario was for your career? So even though it changes course to course, you have to just pick one and you ride with it every tournament.
My career?
No, I'm saying if you had to answer that question
Yeah,
for everything,
Okay.
You just have to take it everywhere.
It's such a hard question. There's just too many players that come to mind.
Fair enough.
At this point, obviously, you have to go with all-time greats, right? You got to think of Jack, Ben Hogan, Tiger. And for me, it's hard to go away from Tiger. So if it's not somebody like Phil or Seve, short game and shot creation, it would be not that Tiger's short in that category. It has to be Tiger's putting.
Got it.
Especially clutch putting.
Thank you.
Mike?
Jon, you've only had a couple of looks at Quail Hollow, I think, in your career. Terrell finished T3 2 years ago here. Just curious if you guys chatted at all about the course. Do you guys chat much about these kind of things, especially in majors?
No, not about this one. We haven't. I actually haven't talked a lot to a lot of people. I've watched some highlights, but the course has changed so much, right? If you go back a decade, it's a completely different golf course, right? So they've also added some new tees. The last few years, I've heard there's a new tee on 9 as well, so that changes things a little bit. So I thought I was going to sneeze. So it's always hard to get an idea. But no, I haven't spoken to Terrell about it. Plus, as difficult as they can set it up for the Wells Fargo Championship in the past, for majors, it's a whole different story, right? So I would suspect that it will be a more difficult setup this week.
Thanks.
We'll go next to Mike's 9, 8, and 15.
You mentioned the Padraig Harrington Open Championship video. Have you watched all of those?
Yeah, I think.
Do you have a favorite one or a favorite?
I haven't recently, so I don't know. If they've added a few, I haven't. I just think it's really cool to hear the stories from the older generations. Because a few of the more active ones I've been able to speak to about it, like Phil. A lot of what he says in that video, I've actually spoken to him about it, right? And I got direct from him. I think it's really cool to watch Lee Trevino's. His storytelling ability is up there, so it makes it really entertaining.
I was curious if you had a favorite takeaway that you've taken from that kind of studying.
I mean, what I mentioned about Padraig, right, is you get an insight into this player's minds. It's not always going to be applicable to what you have in mind, but you get to see how they thought. And there's always certain things that say in certain moments that is quite interesting. I think it might have been the 05 Open in St. Andrews where Tiger said, whoever played 7 through 12 the best was going to win that major, right? And I thought it was quite interesting to hear something like that when you still had 13 through 18, which with the wrong win are actually the harder holes, right? So it was interesting to hear something like that. One of the years, I forget the year that Lee speaks about him getting ready for the Open in Texas, and it was so windy in the dust. He was wearing goggles, and then they get to the tournament side, and it was dead calm for 4 days, right? It's just things that you can't really prepare for. One of the best ones, as helped me was Jack when he won in Muirfield. How he says, I think he was one back, or I forget the actual details on that, but he says how had 3 holes left, and he thought to himself, if I finish 4, 3, 4, which would have been birdie, par, par, so you win the Open. Finishes 4, 3, 4, wins the Open, right? So I thought that was quite interesting to thought, and I've thought about something like that in the past as well for myself. You know, going down the stretch or whatever it may be, you know, if we get this, we win. I think I told Terrell that on the Ryder Cup, right? I think we were playing Xander and Patrick, and we were all square on 16, and I told him 3, 3, 4, we don't lose, right? And luckily we went 3-2 and we ended up winning, but I've definitely used that in the past. It's kind of setting the target out there in your mind, and it has helped, which is not something that I thought anything of when I heard it, but then when I was on the course, it was a nice memory to have and to remember.
Jon, can you explain to us why Spaniards so often seem to be the heartbeat of the European team? Seve, Ollie, and so on, and you. And secondly, has Luke said to you, you're in my team anyway?
That's a question for Luke. It's his team, so hopefully I can qualify and we don't have to question it, but I would like to personally think that I am, but it's not up to me, is it? Now, when it comes to being the core of a team or the heartbeat of a team, it all starts with Seve. We all owe to him, right? I think he was such a unique charisma in the world of golf and sports that I think he set that baseline that then Ollie and Sergio and others have followed, right? I wouldn't know exactly why, because we're all extremely different in character. But if I had to take a guess, it's possibly the passion we play this game with and the emotion that we bring into it, right? So not that we're the only ones, but again, I think it's just kind of, we all get that from what Seve did.
Can I just pick you up on the first answer? You said that's a question for Luke, but my question was to you.
I know.
Has he said to you, don't worry, you're in effect?
And you're going to have to ask Luke that same question. It's not up to me to say.
So you won't tell me whether he has?
I'm not going to say anything about that, no. Again, that's a question for Luke, the captain.
Thank you.
Keep trying, John. You almost have him.
Up to Dan.
Up here, over here. There's a lot of talk about career Grand Slams with Rory having done it. Jordan's got a chance this week. In your 20s, you got halfway there. Is that something that you think about? Is that a goal that you have?
Yeah, of course. I mean, only, 6 people now in history that have been able to do it? Yeah. I mean, I would love to do it. Obviously, it's not easy. And I think, obviously, it would be a lot more in my mind if I were to win a third different one, kind of like Jordan has been able to do. But as in right now, if I ever had a thought, I would focus more on quantity of majors rather than which ones, right? Obviously. In the sense of, let's say I never achieve it, I'd rather have a situation like Sir Nick Faldo where he has 6 of 2 of them instead of having maybe 3 different ones, right? If that makes any sense. So now if you get all 4 of them, even if you won each one once, I think it's so significant that you might take that over 6, right? So, but as in right now, I'd rather just think more about number 3, and if it happens to be the Open or the PGA, then I'll focus on a possible Grand Slam. But as in right now, I don't want to think about it too much. But yeah, of course, I think it's a goal of all of us who play the game.
And then you've spent so much time around Rory on tour in Ryder Cups. Did you ever doubt that he was going to do it?
Nah. To be honest, if that Masters in 11 had gone his way, I think he would have achieved so much more than he has already. I think it's been a very difficult hurdle to overcome. And you could see his emotion towards the end just because his real first chance to win a major, how it went down. I understand he won the U.S. Open shortly after by a record margin, but that was every time he went to Augusta, that was in his mind. And it's funny to me, when you see Rory's game, every time I went down to Augusta National, I'm like, if there's ever a golf course that is perfect for this man, who can hit a high draw on command better than anybody else, has great hands and great touch, is him, right? And he's had so many chances. It's never easy. It's never difficult. And I would not be one bit surprised if this lifted a weight off his shoulder that could get him going on another run, right? A bit like Xander did last year, wins one, and gets another one, gets in contention many times, like Scotty and many other players have done, right? So a player of his caliber, you never know.
Doug?
Jon, given the high skill set you have in this game, this is the one major that you really haven't, given yourself a good chance within the last back nine. Is that just, do you think, coincidence? And secondly, does this major require or ask anything of you differently than the other three?
I'm aware it's been probably the one haven't been my best at. I think my best finish was Belle Reve, I think. And I think it's possibly because of the versatility and variability of this event. Like when you go to Augusta, you know what you're getting. Same course every year too. The U.S. Open, 9 out of 10 times you know what you're getting depending on weather. And same at the Open, right? It'll be firmer or less, but you know what you're getting. Is this championship that would change venues and drastically change the way they set it up? Like the way a Southern Hills might play to the way this week might play to the way a Bethpage might play. They're all drastically different, right? So it's possibly the difference, which is more about, okay, your game needs to be a very high level as opposed to possibly the other three that you can adjust a little bit more knowing what's coming. At that point, that's just a bit speculation. I think it's just more coincidence that I haven't played good.
So in a way, the fact that this major doesn't really have an identity is its identity.
Yeah, I mean, you get different things every time you come, right? It's very difficult to say that two of them were the same. You can have some where you go into a playoff at 5 under, and then last year where 21 under wins it, right? And then a Whistling Straits, 20 was it? What did he shoot? 19, 18? 18 under, right? No, he got 20. He got to 20, yeah, he got to 20. Yeah, because Jordan was 17. So Jason got to 20 at Whistling Straits, which even in Ryder Cup setup, I wouldn't in a million years think anybody would get to 20 under there. So it's quite interesting. And then you have a Bethpage where it's single digits again, right? So is that change? U.S. Opens, for the most part, you know what you're getting, right, and so on. So it definitely has a character of having that different character each time you come.
We'll wrap things up right here with Juan.
Ok, Jon, en español. Estás hablando de una década de majors, ¿no? Casi una década de majors. Casi, sí. 2017, Quail Hollow, me acuerdo, mucha pasión, alguna frustración, mucho aprendizaje. ¿Qué te acuerdas de
Jugué fatal esa semana. A ver, pasé el corte, pero jugué fatal. Mucho calor, muy difícil. Un campo muy, muy difícil, largo. Yo creo que hasta entonces no había jugado muchos campos como ese, ¿no? Jugué Oakmont, pero por suerte estuve un poco más blando, ¿no? Esta semana fue difícil, fue difícil. Un grande con -8, complicado ganar. No se ven muchos, ¿no? Y pues sí, la verdad que fue una experiencia, ¿no? Y sobre todo al principio de mi carrera. Yo creo que también llegué cansado ese agosto, ¿no? Jugar mucho a final de 16, a principios de 17 para clasificar main majors y tal. Y siendo final del año, yo creo que quizá llegué un poquito limitado de energía y sí, jugué mal, pero de todo se aprende.
Hablando de la década, bueno, de la otra vez, 9 años, si quieres, ¿no? En este tiempo, con algunos éxitos, ¿no? Con un poco más de dinero, ¿cómo mantienes la misma garra, la misma pasión? O sea, ¿cuál es el secreto, ¿no? Después de todo este tiempo.
No sé cómo decirlo sin ser o sin sonar poco arrogante, ¿no? Que igual siendo Bilbao tenemos esa arrogancia, ¿no? Pero es las ganas de ser el mejor. Eso no cambia, ¿no? Y hay veces que incluso cuando gano algo importante es como que le estoy metiendo leña al fuego y como que crece más, ¿no? De que lo he hecho y soy capaz de hacer más, ¿no? Así que yo creo que es algo que nunca se va a ir y siempre voy a tener las ganas de seguir luchando y es un poco eso, ¿no? El ser el competidor en mí y las ganas de seguir siendo el mejor jugador.
Y la última cosa, te lo pregunto de dos maneras, si quieres. No sé si los consejos que le darías al Jon de 2016 o cuáles son las principales cosas que has aprendido en estos 9 años, ¿no?
No, sí, me lo han preguntado en inglés, pero es que no sé cómo responderlo, ¿no? Al final, de cara a los majors, lo que me hubiese dicho a mí mismo es poco más paciencia y saber que no hay que jugar un golf perfecto, ¿no? Que hay que ir a jugar a golf con lo que tienes y hacer lo mejor que puedas, pero que no hay que jugar perfecto, no que puedes permitir fallarte. Que lo que más he aprendido es viendo igual resúmenes de los grandes que he jugado bien, incluso los que he ganado, es de ver, decir, ¡buah! Fallé mucho más golpes de lo que yo tenía en mente, ¿no? Pero esos fallos los arreglé bien y es como que los procesé como, bueno, son cosas que pasan y para adelante.
Muy bien. Yep, gracias.
Thanks for your time, John. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Ball left.